Hello, welcome back to Self Love Sunday, my dear sister. I'm so happy that you're here yet again, or maybe for the first time. Whatever it is, I'm so happy to have you here this week. I realized something this week about myself. I've been trying to outsmart the future. Going through the journey from trauma bond, healing, and then slowly seeing myself better all the way through to feeling in leadership of my own life and being sovereign. And that, by the way, doesn't mean that I'm not getting emotional, I'm not having weaker days, or I'm perfect. But in that journey, I realized that outsmarting the future has been my default for a long time. And it stemmed all the way from childhood. Trying to predict the outcomes, trying to predict the moods. And it was quite subtle. A subtle, constant acceleration. I didn't even realize it properly. But obviously, I got deeper and deeper into my healing journey. And now here I am, realizing that I've been living from trying to outsmart the future outcomes. And that kept me in a lot of stress. What that did to me was me creating fake timelines in my head of what has to happen by when, otherwise, yada, yada, yada. I was trying to grow fast and put an invisible pressure on myself. I felt like I didn't have time for my dreams, that, like building a business. I felt like I didn't have enough time, and when things were not happening the way I wanted them to be, as fast as they want them to be, and me trying to figure out so many ways, it became overwhelming. I believe that preparedness equaled safety. But I realized what I've been already talking about, that safety starts within. Safety starts in your heart, in my heart. Yeah. So today's episode is going to be about that. About you not having to outsmart the future to feel safe. So let's dive into the episode. So let's look at the pattern. The urgency disguised as ambition. What is a healthy ambition versus fear-based ambition? Healthy ambition is being present in your own circumstance right now and slowly building what you need in your life, having a realistic look of what your circumstances are. And as much as I love having inspiration from all around the world, for people being wonderfully successful and fruitful in their lives. I realized looking at the other people's successes way ahead of myself made me feel inadequate in whatever I was doing in my life already. Yeah. So healthy ambition is going to be looking at your life without judgment, without thinking that you're not being enough or not doing enough, but slowly, but brick by brick, doing what makes you feel like your heart lights up, and not putting a timeline on it. It's good to have goals and ambitions and structure, but don't let that overwhelm you. And if something doesn't happen by specific timing, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Have a look at what is happening. Have a look if that urgency of a timeline is not actually just created in your head, and you actually can have more space and more breath into the whole process, right? Well, just I have a bit of a cold. My nose is just a little bit watery. So that healthy ambition is staying present first and foremost in your life, taking a breath, and looking at yourself and seeing, what do I love? What brings me expansion, curiosity, joy? And then from that point, you can make a structure and a plan, but also you start taking small steps and actions, realizing that other people's timelines and other people's goals, perhaps that you got inspired by, are not yours. That yours is individual. That to me is healthy ambition. Staying present with your current circumstance, being kind to yourself, taking rest, true breath, and making pause for joy. Not overextending yourself. Yeah. Versus the fear-based acceleration, what it will be is putting invisible timelines. Again, there's nothing wrong with structure per se, but I realized that I've been doing that to myself. And as much as I said, it's beautiful to have inspiration, that I realized that I've been taking other people's timelines and putting them on my own life. I've been consuming also disturbing content of the world, conspiracy theories that are not so conspiracy anymore, right? And realizing that I'm scared of the future. So that made me feel like I have to do something now. And if it's not happening now, then I'm messing it up. That I don't have time, right? And that is not the way. That's just going to be counterproductive. Or you're going to build something that is built out of fear, out of the frequency, out of the energy of fear. Yeah. So sometimes urgency is not a drive. Sometimes it's fear wearing a productive outfit. So it's overdoing, overextending, overstructuring, not taking proper rest. Or when you rest, you judge yourself for resting. You don't think that you should be resting, even though it's, someone told me that a rest is important, right? Maybe you're telling yourself that it's important, but you are unable to because you're thinking about the future and what will happen if I don't do it by this time, right? But the most effective and productive way of getting to where you want is giving that breath and space. Yeah. Sometimes urgency is not a drive. Sometimes it's fear wearing a productive outfit. I want that to land. I want that to land with you. For me, that urgency came from a beautiful place though. And I don't mean it that, because most likely when you're a heart-centered person, the ambition is not for the sake of ambition, right? It is for protecting the people that you love, protecting your family, which was mine as well. It's wanting financial freedom, not living in scarcity. And it's not financial freedom for the sake of financial freedom. It is financial freedom so you don't have to scramble pennies to pay the bills and decide whether you spend it the rest on the medication, food, or travel, or anything else, or pleasures. Yeah, you just want a normal life. We are often beating ourselves up that, we have a specific salary and it's limited, right? And then we're beating ourselves up that we're not doing better. We see all these successful people around us. We see all these people that are talking about financial freedom, and that makes us feel not good enough. And that makes us forget where we actually are and what we've got. And also makes us forget that scarcity is not a natural state for a human being. We are abundant, loving human beings. We have a heart that is powerful, beautiful, enormous. I know that your ambition comes from beauty, from heart. You want to protect your family. You want to have financial freedom for the sake of safety and not having to scramble and not having to feel like you're not doing enough. It's like a constant chasing of the tail. We got so used to having to choose between things that are actually very normal and should be available to us. So travel, seeing your friends, family, nutritious, good quality food, seeing a professional if there's something not quite right with our health, right? There's nothing wrong with wanting financial freedom. As one of my favorite content creators said, financial freedom, there's nothing wrong with money itself. Money is energy. Money is a mean. It's a tool of expanding ourselves, and depending what is in our heart at the time when the money reaches us, that's what's going to expand out of us, right? That energy, that frequency that is present at the time when money reaches us. Another reason that we want to have that ambition, that fear of the future, is feeling responsible for being ahead of what might come. That's me. That's definitely me. Predicting meant safety for me. And again, going back to consuming too much heavy information. No wonder we are struggling if we have been overwhelmed and overstimulated. Yeah. You cannot outsmart the future. That's the truth. And I hope that will take the burden out of you a little bit. You know what you can do? You can regulate yourself inside of the future, whatever it is. Because the safety that you build within yourself is your regulation in that future that's coming. Yeah. There's nothing wrong in preparation, by the way, but it's not about being in that constant state of fear of what else do I need to predict. It's good to have rational, basic preparation for certain things, but most important thing is to regulate your nervous system, build the safety, and become your own safe space. Your autonomy, your sovereignty has a ripple effect. once it started to awaken within my life in one area, boy, how fast was the change in other areas of my life. It's enough that you start being more sure of your heart, more sure of your value, and not from an egotistic point of view, but from the fact that you're a human being. You're already here, right? You're already here on this earth. So just knowing that you have a space here, that's sovereignty, like that's beginning of sovereignty, knowing that you are here. You are needed. You are loved. You are love. And you know how when you regulate your nervous system, when you become sovereign, when you work on loving yourself, because that should be the principle, that should be the main goal, regulating and loving yourself. Truly. Not from ego point. Truly bursting your heart open and feeling it in your entire system. Unconditional love. Being that steady, loving presence for yourself has, again, a ripple effect on the people around you. So this is the best way to protect the people around you, because they perhaps get a permission to get sovereign themselves and get to the same thinking. Okay, she can do it, I can do it too. You become a role model, not from the space of ego again, but from the space of heart signal. You remind them of their own heart, of their own power. Yeah. Loving yourself without self-abandonment, even if it is unfamiliar to those around you at the beginning, it makes a complete shift down the line. Let's remember that so many of us have to overcome so many layers of conditioning before we are able to let the heart of other people in, and before we are able to let our heart to expand. Yeah. So if you needed this, let this be permission to live a normal, beautiful life, even in uncertain times. Because living in a loving way, living from the heart space, allowing your heart to be on the loudspeaker, revealing your true self in a vulnerable way. And I'm not talking that you have to say everything about your life, but revealing that energy of your heart out there. That is needed because it's a frequency, it's energy. And if we have so much distortion, and if we give this distortion, evil, whatever you want to call it, if we are giving it time, energy, from that space of fear, outrage, what do you think will happen more? And I'm not talking about that we shouldn't care about what's happening. I'm just saying that how we shift it is with the power of heart. Yeah. So this is your permission to live a beautiful life. This is your permission to enjoy the rain, the sound of rain on the window, the way I'm enjoying it right now. This is your permission to take an evening of a spa evening. Today I will be doing my nails, for example, and it will take me ages, but I would used to think that's a waste of time. Now I'm just like, you know what? No. It's me time. Yeah. This also means enjoying the pastries or sweets sometimes. Take care of your health, but there's nothing wrong with enjoying the small pleasures in life. Don't beat yourself up if you ate extra few calories. Watch that beautiful movie. You don't always have to watch something productive. You don't always have to watch a documentary or inform yourself of the terrible things of the world. You know, when I was coming back home, I used to have to put on a mask, or at least I thought I had to put on a mask of the old me. And now I feel proud stepping in, because I know I'm stepping in with my whole heart, without self-abandonment. That carries a different kind of power. And you, my love, are able to do the same. You are able to transform whatever the old story that you had about yourself, that you are powerless, that you cannot change much, that you don't matter, that you have to prove your worthiness. That's not true. The truth is, like, put your hand on your heart. There's a beat. Can you feel it beating? That's your heart. That's the capacity. You are capable of this too. It's you. So, I wanted to leave you with a thought today. You don't have to become extraordinary to justify your existence. Being steady, loving, and regulated is already radical in this world. You don't have to become extraordinary to justify your existence. Being steady, loving, and regulated is radical enough. And this is what I want to leave you with today. And perhaps we can add a small mantra or meditation. Let's add a couple of mantras. I am safe when I'm calm. My calm is powerful. My heart is my safe space. I trust my timing. You can keep that for this week to ground yourself, to love yourself, and to remind yourself that urgency is sometimes created in our head, because this is what we learned was safety. to stay on the go constantly, to try to outsmart the future. So, remind yourself of the power of your heart. I hope you found something beautiful in this episode, and I'll see you next week, perhaps. Take good care of your heart.